Well, it's like anything else. It's like they say when certain numbers show up consistently, it is your angels reminding you of a message, and you have to kind of look it up to find out, well, it's a pattern of numbers, but I noticed a few years back that 444 or 444, or sometimes 4444, and like that's really, and what it was an assurance that you are on the right course. Stay focused on what you're doing, stay true, stay genuine, and we will guide you. And even to this day, there are times I'm like overthinking or concerned or whatever it might be, and I'll glance and there goes 444 somewhere. You know, it'll show up. Sometimes it's 4444. It's like 4 or 5 or 6 fours. That's just kind of saying it loud and clear, like, hey, you're gonna be all right. You know, I'm sure like sometimes through any journey, there's worries, but a lot of times it's make believe, it's made up, and we realize it's like, what evidence do we really have to back up that belief? And typically none. So it's like that. So 444 is just reminding, Charly, stay focused. You know what? It's like everybody that comes into your life, there's an expression, somebody comes into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I disagree with that. Everybody comes into your life for a reason. The season or the lifetime is to be determined. And sometimes you think it's just for a season, and there they go again. There they go again, and they keep popping up. I had Carolyn White Travanti, who was one of my first teachers that truly challenged me and saw my talent, was big. But even prior to that, there's a artist here, his name is Gerald Dwayne Coleman. And he was my barber when I was a kid. And that barbershop gave me my first art show. You know, the Inner City Arts Council mentors there, and I became a mentor later on. So yeah, I know that I am who I am, but what I love about Milwaukee is if you can get to a pace or a place where you're willing to do the work, you'll find in other cities what work you've done has prepared you to get the results faster in other places. So if I was to say something negative or challenging about Milwaukee, it is that sometimes Milwaukee makes it a little harder than it needs to be. Although I think Milwaukee, I don't know if the demographics are still around the same, but about 25% African American. But fortunately, I spent a great portion of my time here with African Americans, so I would have sworn it was 60% Black. Being Black anywhere in America is a challenge. Being Black here, we faced a lot. We moved into a almost predominantly white neighborhood when I was only 13 years old. Navigating that, but also learning to appreciate certain things about the aspects of living in even a white neighborhood where there's only white radio stations. To this day, I absolutely still love it. But yeah, I think that it was all of the challenges that were presented here, but all of the opportunities. Like when you look at the Milwaukee Art Museum, the collection there molded me, it inspired me. I literally just read a book by one of the first artists that inspired me locally, Robert Henry. And he wrote a book called The Artist's Spirit. And I still, to this day, reference that when talking to young people. And so it's little things like that that have made a real big difference. Actually, even having, which we take for granted because we're landlocked, having a lake to go to. My parents didn't have a lot of money. So all we would do is drive from where we lived to downtown to the lake and throw rocks and maybe have an ice cream. And that was all we needed. So I fondly look at my upbringing here in Milwaukee. That's a very good question. I love these questions. All right, so I think that fortunately, there are two clear evidence of my commitment. And one is I am an artist of about 12 children's books. I am an artist, author of one book called The Legend of Gravity. And it's really a fictional story based on my experience growing up here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And so that is something that I think can live for a long time. And I even dedicate part of it to some of the street ball legends, and one in particular here in Milwaukee. But now it's like with the help, mostly with the efforts and the commitment of my wife, Dr. Karita Brown, we have the New Brownies book. And the New Brownies book is a love letter to Black families. And so that will live way past me. And I hope so. I mean, like, we always dreamed of it being on the table of every Black family in the world. And I hope to see that before I'm gone. Not fair, because he is no longer here, and he was only here for a short time. But Sir Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a legend to me. We all know that. But he played with Milwaukee, and I was a kid when they won the championship. So Kareem would come to mind right away. Gerald Dwayne Coleman very much is a legend in my mind, in my heart, because he made the blueprint that I've worked off of. And so Irma Walker, my mother, because all that I am and ever will be, I owe to my lovely mother, as a quote from Abraham Lincoln. But I owe because she believed in me and supported me. Milwaukee Legends. You know what? I think that I'm going to put it out there. I think that he has great talent and was very much underrated for what he did. But speech, Arrested Development, brought a new style to hip hop. It didn't last long because it took a terrible turn, but it was a elevation of the music. And so he would definitely be up there as one of them as well.